Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It is a late Sunday afternoon, early August, and I'm heading in to set up a couple trail cameras for my spike elk tag. And I can tell I haven't been hiking in a while. I'm out of breath, and this is not steep at all yet. Of course, I had a big lunch after church, that didn't help any. Super hot and smoky. I don't know if you're able to tell on the GoPro just how smoky it is, but it is brutal. We've got forest fires to the west of us, and man, the valley has just been filled with smoke. I was hoping if I got up here high I'd get over some of it, but it's not. Anyway, I've got 2 trail cameras I'm going to hang today. I'm going to leave these up here, and I won't check them again until mid to late September. Let them sit here for about a month. My elk tag is in early October, so we'll come up here in mid to late September, see if I got any action, and if so, how long it's been since they've been in the area. And if we've got fairly recent elk activity, this is where we'll hunt. If not, we'll go to some other spots. Thanks for coming along today. I'll obviously keep my eyes out for sheds, but I would be surprised, to say the least, if I found any sheds up here. Maybe moose sheds, but just the deer and the elk, by the time they shed, they usually are way lower than this. This is pretty high, so, and this area gets a ton of snow and cold temperatures. In fact, the coldest temperature ever recorded here in Utah is about a quarter mile from where I am. So thanks for coming along. Hopefully we'll find at least 1 or 2 interesting things out in God's creation today. If not, we'll just enjoy the view. Alright guys, got the salt laid down. Got the first trail camera set over here. I'm only about 3/4 of a mile in from where I started. Not very far. This second one that I set, I'm going to set quite a bit further back. So I try to set these facing north. Didn't get fewer false positive. That's facing northeast. Hopefully it won't pick up too much sun change and stuff like that, but that's where we're going to leave it for this month, and we'll come back up here in mid to late September, see what we got. So I picked this spot because there's a pretty decent game trail that comes down right here, crosses that log, and then cuts up in, back up that next hillside. And a fair amount of tracks, some droppings along here, so that's why I chose it, and we'll see what we get. In addition to setting trail cameras, I'm also looking for potential spots to pitch a tent if I decide to backpack hunt this. When I come back up here to check these trail cameras, I'm going to bring my tent and probably my sleeping pad. And if I've got a lot of activities on these cameras, I'm going to go ahead and set my tent up then, so it's already up here, it's already ready for me. And then when the season starts, it's during football season, so I'm going to end up coming up here at night. So then I can just hike in the dark. I'll find my tent. And what I'm doing now is marking this spot on my OnX. So I've talked about OnX before, but man, it's a lifesaver just for purposes like this, because if I'm coming in the dark, it's going to be really hard to look for, you know, visible waypoints, but I can just follow the track that I'm taking today, and I'm going to mark my location, and then it allows you to put different symbols in. Now I'm going to select camp and save it. So I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but so now there's a little tent symbol right there where I'm sitting. So then I can just follow that when I'm coming in the dark. I got a nice little flat spot right here. Flip this around. I've just cleared all this out. Nice little flat spot. You can see I'm pretty much on the very top. There's the top of the saddle right there. So this is a potential camp spot if we have activity on these cameras. We got the second trail camera set up. It's a pretty well used game trail running right there. If you keep following, this starts the side hill of the ridge that I'm on and then drops out into an open little meadow and an open valley, which would be a good place to sit up in the morning. If there's activity, there's tracks. That's an elk track right there. It's not real fresh. These are deer tracks. Deer tracks, another elk track right here. So I'm going to put some salt down just at the base of that tree, and then we're going to get out of here. So that is the view of the OnX app on my phone. The blue dot is where GPS says I am. The little red marker is the pin I put in for a potential campsite when I set these trail cameras last week. It's accurate, it's close. I'm standing right on that site. This is where I kind of kicked the sticks and rocks out of the way. But what happened, I think I've shared with you before, if you look on this, you can see these straight lines that are just like perpendicular to where I really hiked. I didn't go there. My GPS on my phone is screwed up. And so what happens is it shows me going places I didn't really go. Now, it does show the places I did go. So like right now, that's accurate. That blue dot is accurate. Anyway, long story short, guys, I realized last week when I put these trail cameras up, my GPS was off, and so when I marked the location, it wasn't accurate. So if you see those two pins for trail cameras, the one on the right is accurate. The one on the left, that's where it said I put my trail cam last week, but it wasn't. So after I set those, I did a loop. I didn't backtrack, and I knew my GPS acted up from time to time, so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go and make sure that the pin I placed is accurate. And I could not find my trail camera last week after I had set it. Anyway, so I came back up today. It's only been a week. I was pretty confident if I hiked in the same direction that I started, just from memory and landmarks, I could find that trail camera. And sure enough, I walked right to it. And I brought some surveyor tape to put up so that if my GPS is acting funky, if I come in here early in the morning before it's bright, it'll be easy to find that. So anyway, I found the first trail camera and walked right here to the campsite pin that I set. And now I'm going to go to the next trail camera. The next trail camera, I knew I'd be able to find it even without the GPS. There's some pretty prominent landmarks as you're hiking up there, and I knew I'd find it. That first trail camera, I honestly wasn't so sure. I was afraid I may have lost it. So thank the Lord that I was able to walk right up on it. I mean, I'll be able to find it now easy, even without the GPS. But anyway, so that's what I'm doing today. I'm not checking the cards or anything. I'm putting a little bit of flagging out kind of near the trail cam, so if I come into the dark, it's easy to find them. And then I'm going to hike in a little further to a lake that's up here. It's more like a mud hole that I've never been to, and just want to see if there's any sign around it. It is so hot and dry this year. I mean, the elk have to be hanging around water. It's supposed to be 97 today down in the valley, and usually up here up high it's quite a bit cooler, but I think it's low 90s for sure. I mean, it's just hot. So anyway, I'm going to combine this with last week's video where I set the cameras up. I'm also going to review the new hunting boots I got for this year. My pair of Rockies that I had forever finally gave in. I'll probably do just a little overview on those boots. Those are the best boots I've ever had as far as durability. But anyway, we'll talk about that in just a little bit. And I may, if I get out of here on time, hit the Logan River for a little bit of fishing on the way out. So if so, stay tuned for that. Thanks for coming along, guys. This is going to be so shaky, guys, but there's a beautiful 4-point. Oh, there he goes. Big old 4x4. Not super wide, really tall. Well, he's going to be a pretty buck this fall. GoPro batteries are dead, so I'm on my cell phone and I can see it's just shaking like crazy, so sorry for the quality. Hopefully you guys got a quick glimpse of him before he ran off. Let's wrap this thing up. So hopefully in about a month, when I go back up and check those cameras, we're going to see plenty of elk pictures on there and some elk footage. I'm not 100% confident we will. The lake that I mentioned in the video did have some water in it, and there is just no water this year up high. Everything is so dry. So that's a good sign for us. If we can maybe get lucky, it's public land. I'm obviously not the only one who knows about that little lake up there, so I'm sure there are going to be a lot of guys in and out of there during the bow season and things like that. But hopefully they don't run them all out and we'll be able to get something done on that spike tag. I want to talk about some new gear that I'm going to get to use this hunting season that I'm really excited about. I just had to put to bed my trusty, faithful Rocky hunting boots. I had a brand, a Rocky brand. Gosh, I had those at least 5.5 years. I don't know if it was 5.5 or 6.5. Realistically, without exaggeration, I'm sure I had over 1,000 miles on those boots because I don't wear them just to hunt. I wear them hunting. I wear them shed hunting. If I'm not wading, I usually wear them fishing. I wear them backpacking. You know, if I'm in the mountains, I just have one pair of shoes that I typically wear. I'm not one of these guys that can afford 6 different pair of outdoor shoes. So anyway, I had a ton of miles on them. They finally bit the dust. And I'm a budget guy if I can be, and I totally understand that with some pieces of gear, you get what you pay for. Those Rockies that I had, I paid $89 for them. And again, they lasted me 5.5 years. They were great boots. The only complaints I had about them, there were 2 complaints with those Rockies if you're ever interested in checking out Rocky boots. One, they were heavy. I mean, I don't know how much they weighed, but I could just tell with these new shoes that I wore today, they were heavy, and I knew they were heavy all along. And the other thing is the undersole of them got great traction in the mud and in the dirt, but it was really hard. It wasn't a soft rubber, it was really hard. And so on rock, it could be fairly slippery, especially if the rock was wet at all. So I've taken more than my fair share of spills in those boots if it was wet and it was rocky. But love the boots overall. That being said, it was time to get something new. I could not believe how many pair of hunting boots at Sportsman's Warehouse today retailed for over $400. I'm not criticizing any of you guys who spend $400 on hunting boots. If you're in a position financially where you can do that, that's awesome. I rejoice for you. I'm just not. I cannot justify spending $400 for a pair of shoes when I've got 4 kids at home and one's getting married this fall and one's going to college, another one's going to college soon. I mean, I just can't do it. So I'm always looking for a good deal, for a bargain. And so I bought a new pair of boots today, a brand, I guess you'd say, that I've never heard of, called Northside. And I'll show them in just a minute. I got them at Sportsman's Warehouse. I put about 6.5, maybe 7 miles on them today. Very, very happy with how they felt. Very comfortable, a good ankle support. The only thing I noticed is on the downhill hiking, the toe box is a little narrow. I could feel my toes kind of getting pinched at the end on the real steep downhill stuff. I got the Renegade 400 model. This is the box that they came in. I'll show you the actual boot in a second. So it has 400 grams of Thinsulate in it. Now it says it's rated to 40 below zero. Personally, guys, I don't buy that, to be honest with you. Just don't think that's true. Number 2, I'll never be able to tell you for sure because there's no way in the world I'm going out and hunting in 40 below zero weather. So I'll never test that. But my other boots that I just had, they were also 400 grams of Thinsulate. And I wore those in the winter to hunt. I had a couple of late season elk tags and I hunted with them and they kept me warm. Now, it didn't get anywhere near 40 below zero, but I would think, down to zero, they'll probably keep my feet pretty warm as long as I get good socks. They are, the model that they are is the Renegade 400. So again, the brand is Northside. The model is the Renegade 400. This is what they look like. They're dusty because, again, I put about 6 miles on them. Here's the tread on the bottom. There's the lacing system. I don't know how much they weigh. I tried to throw them on just my bathroom scale, and it wouldn't even register. I think it goes down to 8 pounds, so they obviously weigh less than that. I paid $79.99 for them. Now, that makes me a little nervous. That's not very much money for a hunting boot, and I may find out that they don't even last me through the year, and if so, then it wasn't a good buy. My hope is to get 3 years out of them. I feel for 80 bucks, if I get 3 years out of a pair of boots, that's a winner for me, and I got nothing to gripe about. So anyway, I will do a follow-up review on this at the end of hunting season. So that'll mean Andrew's muzzleloader tag. So I'll put some miles on him for that. It'll be my spike elk tag, and then my late season cow elk tag, which there'll be snow on the ground for that. So I'll get to test out how warm they are. And then some grouse hunting and other stuff in between. So I'll let you guys know how they perform, and if they perform well, you can't beat the price. 80 bucks for those. And so I'm excited to see what happens with them. Okay, let's move on. A couple other things. Channel shout out. Today it is South Florida Fishing Family. The South Florida Fishing Family. I just started watching their videos probably 3 months ago. Have not been subscribed very long, but love it. They fish off of a boat off in the ocean in South Florida. The whole family's involved. That's one of the reasons I like it. A lot of good quality time between dad and the kids, and they just put together good videos. Catch a lot of different species of fish, so check them out when you get a chance. I'll put a link to their description. I'll put a link to their video in the description. Very last thing I want to do is the Minute on the Mountain. The Minute on the Mountain comes from Proverbs again today, and just want to read this to you. It says, "A wise son brings joy to his father, but a foolish man despises his mother." A wise son brings joy to his father, but a foolish man despises his mother. That's Proverbs 15, verse 20. I think I might have said 16. So Proverbs 15, verse 20. I've got a son that's getting married here in a couple of months. My oldest son, Caleb, he's 19. And part of that scares me. They're just so young. Just being transparent, being honest with you guys. But I'm so proud of him. And he brings so much joy to me. He's very wise for his age in a lot of ways. A lot wiser than I was in some ways at that age. And then my other son, Andrew, is going to be a senior in high school this fall. He's just got a great head on his shoulders. And he brings me much joy. So I've been the recipient of this. I don't know if I brought joy to my father. You'd have to ask him on that. But I've got 2 sons that have brought me incredible joy. And part of that is just their wisdom, their compassion, their humility. They have so many good characteristics. But anyway, so that's just my encouragement to all of us who are dads, that we train up our sons and daughters in the way that they should go, that they would be wise, because that not only is going to bless them, but that's going to bring us joy as their parents. And that we would be wise, that we would bring joy to our dads if they're still around, even if they're in their 70s or 80s. So again, that's Proverbs 15:20. A wise son brings joy to his father, but a foolish man despises his mother. So sorry for all the rambling, guys. It's a fairly long video, and a ton of it was just talking. So I apologize about that. Those normally are not my style of videos. Hopefully the next time we'll get a little more footage out in the mountains for you. Thanks for coming along. God bless you. Have a good week.